Welcome to Front Office Pros. Today, we're going to be talking about our updated top 24 Dynasty quarterback rankings with tiers. But in this episode, the rookies are included. I guess you'll find out if Joe and I had rookies in it, but spoiler alert, there's rookies on my end.
Yeah, I've got rookies as well, Steve.
Hike!
All right, Joe, so why don't you start us off? Who do you got in tier number 5?
All right, in my tier number 5, at number 24, I've got Baker Mayfield. At 23, I've got Drake Maye. 22, JJ McCarthy. 21, Will Levis. And at 20, Kirk Cousins.
Okay, interesting, Joe. So for number 24, I've got Aaron Rodgers. 23, Deshaun Watson. 22, Baker Mayfield. 21, Matthew Stafford. And 20, Kirk Cousins. So a little interesting because you and I did have we were agreeable in some cases with Kirk Cousins and Baker Mayfield in this tier. I just had Aaron Rodgers, Matthew Stafford, and Deshaun Watson. Do you have those guys later on, or you did not include them in your top 24?
I don't got those guys in my top 24.
Ooh, spicy with no Matthew Stafford. I can understand Rodgers. I mean, for me with Rodgers, he has probably 1 year left, and I know this is Dynasty, but if he does play, which I'm going to assume that he does, he plays the entire season. This is a guy, based on his production and in that Jets offense, if he's the MVP type of Aaron Rodgers, you're talking about a QB1 guy who I think could help you win a championship. So to me, I thought that he was appealing enough to include in this group because people are always looking long-term. And I know this is Dynasty, but I think he does provide some short-term value. And ultimately, you're hoping to win championships. So I think this guy can help you.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. Even Stafford, for that matter, they both have the short-term value and can help you win the Dynasty championships. Guess I just was looking more things from a long-term lens, and I don't have them included. But, I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, especially, Aaron Rodgers, depending on how he's recovering from this Achilles injury with the weapons that the Jets have, I mean, if he comes back looking like normal Aaron Rodgers, he easily could help you win in Dynasty.
So why not Stafford, though? Like I think that he has a little bit more, gas left in the tank. Are you thinking that he doesn't?
I don't know. I don't know how much gas he has left in the tank, and with his injury history and everything like that, I'm not sure. I don't know how many years he has left. To me, that's kind of a mystery.
Well, the one reason I almost thought about not including him, which maybe people will think this is a lame reason, but with the Blake Corum selection, I sort of wonder as Stafford ages, I wonder, do the Rams start tailoring more to a run-first offense, focused mostly on Kyren Williams and Blake Corum? I know they have Puka. I know they have Cooper Kupp, but Cooper Kupp, he's been banged up a lot. I mean, do we really even expect him to play an entire season next year that he's going to be healthy? So I don't know. I just don't think it's crazy to think that offense might start looking a little bit different than what we've expected, at which Stafford has really thrown a ton. And I do think that people are too – I mean, Stafford doesn't get talked about a ton, but I do think that people want to reference that year that he went absolutely off with the Rams when I think he was first there. But I feel like that's kind of a distant past. I don't think we're going to see that again from this Matthew Stafford.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if we see that again. Like you said, I think, they're transitioning to be more run first. Kind of saw that with how many opportunities Kyren Williams had. And just, the quicker passes and just the style of play that they have. I think it's definitely shaping up for a different Stafford than when he first got there.
Now, what made you put Kirk Cousins in this tier? I agree with you. My reasoning was because of the Achilles and the Michael Penix selection, which I think does not bode well for his potential future in the NFL a few years down the road.
Yeah, I mean, that played a big part with just kind of like Aaron Rodgers, not sure how these guys are going to come back from the Achilles injury. If Kirk Cousins is fine, I like his outlook. Just again, then you mentioned, a top 10 pick and Michael Penix added on there. That whole thing is just confusing. And the thing of it with Penix is like he's a ready to go rookie. He's an older rookie. So, but then, Cousins gets the bag. I don't know. I don't know what to think about that Atlanta quarterback situation. To me, they just created all these questions with the Penix selection.
Yeah, you're going to be shocked. Yeah, she probably won't be shocked. I did not include JJ McCarthy or Drake Maye in my top 24, which, for those in Dynasty, they might think that's ridiculous. But with Drake Maye, the landing spot in New England, I think, is horrendous. I am very concerned about that. I think I don't know if you read into this at all. I'm trying to remember who was the NFL player. They recently were on a Plaxico Burress. It was Plaxico Burress. He was on, I forgot it was on as soon as Fox Sports or something, but he was saying something. Maybe, I don't know if he knows Gerard Mayo at all, but he was making some sort of comment to say like the Patriots are sort of regretting the Drake Maye selection and that he was a lot more of a project than they anticipated. Now, more than likely, Plaxico Burress doesn't know what he's talking about. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't.
Yeah.
But either way, I do agree with his sentiment that he is more of a project quarterback. I thought, had the highest ceiling, so that's why I ranked him number one. But I just don't think that he has the structure in New England to help him get to maximize that potential. So that's why I couldn't put him in the top 24.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, but I mean, obviously New England planned on taking a project quarterback. I mean, they prioritized Jacoby Brissett in free agency, and they got him, and I think he's pretty much going to probably play majority of the year, if not the whole year, and just let Maye sit there and kind of learn.
I guess I don't know. To me, if he went to Minnesota, I would feel entirely different.
Well, of course, you put ex-rookie quarterback in Minnesota, and we think a lot higher. I mean, that's
why you have JJ McCarthy there. I just have my doubts on McCarthy being a top-end dynasty quarterback, but I could be wrong about that. I mean, he's got a lot of potential. They just got to hone in on it.
Yeah, I mean, he couldn't have gone to a better place, and I think O'Connell's going to get the best out of him.
Are you enjoying this episode so far? Well, if you are, show your support to our channel by following us on Apple and Spotify under the Salary Cap Show, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Front Office Pros. If you want advice on your trades, head over to the Front Office Pros Twitter and fill out our Front Office Pros Dynasty Trade Inquiry Form, which gives us all the information we need to help advise you on what is the best move for your team. All right, Joe, why don't we head over to tier number 4? Who do you got there?
All right, in tier 4, at number 19, I've got Bryce Young. 18, I've got Bo Nix. 17.
Are you kidding me?
17, Jared Goff. 16, Tua Tagovailoa. 15, Trevor Lawrence. And at 14, Jayden Daniels.
I just can't believe you. Unbelievable with the home.
I knew you were going to like my Bo Nix ranking.
Oh, yeah. I can't wait to rip you to shreds on this. So at 19, I've got Brock Purdy. 18, Will Levis.
You want to talk about my Bo Nix.
17, Jayden Daniels. 16, Bryce Young. 15, Jared Goff. And 14, Tua Tagovailoa.
At least you got Jared Goff higher than you normally do, I feel like. So
you are right, though, Joe. When it comes to Jared Goff, I don't typically rank him this high. I actually have him higher than you, which is saying something. I honestly can't believe that that's the case, to be honest with you, because you're a part of the Jared Goff fan club. But when it comes to my standpoint with Goff, after he signed that long-term extension, I think it's hard not to like him, at least in this standpoint. I mean, he's 29 years old. I don't know if he'll be turning 30 or not. I don't know where his birthday is. Forgive me. Maybe I should have saw that coming if I was going to talk about him. But at the end of the day, he's got Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's got Jameis Williams. He's got Sam Laporta. He's got Jahmyr Gibbs. These are all young players that are around him. He has one of the best, if not the best, offensive line. So although I don't necessarily like Goff all that much as the player, it's hard to deny what he's been able to do. And so I feel like he's worthy of this spot right now. The tough part is with these dynasty rankings is I'm trying to take into account what the player is doing, but then with the potential. as well. Like if you
Yeah.
told me if I could start a dynasty roster and I could have Bryce Young, Jayden Daniels, or Will Levis or Jared Goff, I'm going to take all three of those other guys over Jared Goff because I want the ceiling. I already know what Goff is. Goff's a mid guy. But that's where it's tough because you've got to kind of figure out where you slot him. And to me, it's like, well, you can't have those other guys ahead of Goff because Goff is still young and Goff has been good. So it's a tough thing when it comes to these dynasty rankings. You just try to, I feel like you just kind of try to blend the two together.
Yeah, that it definitely is the tough part, with the age and everything, and then like you said, younger guys with ceilings, but maybe they aren't just ready to go right now. It is a tough mixture, and I mean, I think I made my rankings prior to Goff getting the signing. Probably would have liked to have him higher. I don't like the fact that you have Jared Goff higher than me. Um, I don't like that sentiment at all. So I'd probably like to give Goff a little bump there.
I'm a little surprised you don't have him higher than Tua. Although I had Tua higher as well. I have him one more spot like you. I just think Tua, his contract situation is not a good predicament. Or I'm not saying that correctly. It is a predicament. To
Yeah,
me,
yeah,
I'm concerned about it because I think the guy can't play in the cold. He really tailed off at the end of the year. And when Tyreek Hill is no longer in that offense, what does it look like? To me,
yeah.
Dolphins have not signed him to a long-term deal. They seem to be having a contract dispute. I don't know. Tua is a guy I think that, I have him still decently high, but
Yeah.
he makes me a little nervous.
Yeah, that's honestly the most obvious switch that I would make is put Goff at 16 and Tua at 17. Um, just because, like you said, I mean, now that Goff with the deal, which I had a feeling the extension was going to happen. I kept telling you that you were always nervous about, the Lions going to put their faith in Jared Goff, and you thought there was something to them drafting the quarterback last year for him to potentially take over with
Hey,
Goff.
people
But
like Hendon Hooker. People
yeah,
like them. I'm just saying.
yeah, and then Hooker was interesting. I mean, until he had the knee injury, a lot of people were high on him, and then he slips in the draft because of it. So
Now you do have Jayden Daniels a lot higher than I do. I mean, I guess not that much higher. I guess you have him at 14. I have him at 17. You feel he has a lot of potential over in Washington.
yeah, I mean, like I've been saying, I think he's got one of the higher ceilings for rookie quarterbacks in this draft class. And honestly, if it wasn't for what the Bears have done on that offense for Caleb Williams, my rookie rankings, I had Jayden Daniels
No, I
number
know
one
you
the whole
did.
time.
I know
Uh,
that's why I'm
it
surprised.
Yeah, it's just hard to deny the situation that Caleb's working in. So I'll be talking about him later, but yeah, Jaden's got a high ceiling. With it, especially with his rushing upside. Would I have liked a little better situation for him than Washington? Sure, but it's also not the worst landing spot for him.
Now I would talk about Will Levis because you had him in the prior tier and I had him in this tier, but for the sake of time, I'm going to give you your opportunity to give a shot against me, and I'm going to give a shot against you. So go ahead, give it to me about Brock Purdy.
Oh yeah, my man Brock Purdy, man. How do you have Brock Purdy at 19 in tier 4 when especially in our league, he was one of the top quarterbacks. And I think for a lot of other leagues, especially if you're looking at I know we have a weird scoring system with touchdowns and interceptions being the same and then bonus for completion percentage. But if you're in a league, even a super flex league that values the quarterback position, this guy should be a lot higher than 19.
I just can't get excited about this guy. It was 1 year. He's done 1 year of production. He came in, towards the end of his when he first started when he was his rookie year, right? He kind of came in and he showed that he was capable. Then last year he really took the next step forward. But we've seen 1 year of this guy full time. To me, Debo, I believe that he is a product of his environment based on the people around him. Debo Samuel, his playing style is not conducive for him playing in older age. I think Debo will hit a cliff at some point. You've got Brendan Ayuk, still no contract extension there. You wonder what's going on there. I know they drafted Ricky Pearsall, who I do like, but even George Kittle's not getting any younger either, and neither is McCaffrey. So once all those guys go and the dust settles, you're dealing with maybe Purdy, Ayuk, and I don't know, possibly Ricky Pearsall. But what kind of talent evaluator, in my opinion, has John Lynch been? I mean, who has John Lynch brought into the offense as a general manager to really help this team? In my view, I don't think he's done that good job. So Purdy to me is a game manager. Who are you going to bring around him? From a dynasty standpoint, what does he look like in 3-4 years? I don't know. I would be very heavily concerned about that.
As long as Kyle Shanahan's there, I don't care who the personnel is. In that Shanahan system, it's about the system. They find players to complement it. It's not pigeonholed just to the players that they have on the field. It's the same thing with the Broncos. When Mike Shanahan was there, they found a different running back each and every year to run for 1,000 yards. It just doesn't matter. It's plug and play offense.
I get that. I just don't have the confidence that you have the belief in Kyle Shanahan, and you can ride that horse.
And I mean, let's face it, he's got a lot more say with who makes it on that offensive field than John Lynch even does.
I understand that, but I just don't feel like there have been a lot of good players for. We'll see. It's a moot point. I don't really like him. You like him. That's the end of the story.
Yeah.
I just don't. I would not want this guy. I can't get excited about him. I'm sorry. I don't see it. Now, to get on your case though, Joe, this is such a homer pick with Bo Nix. The guy's got nothing to work with in Denver right now. How could you possibly think, unless you think he's the second coming of Drew Brees? I don't understand why you think that you have to explain yourself.
I mean, he went to the perfect spot. I don't care about personnel with the Broncos. Say what you want about their receiving core. They've got playmakers. It's about what Sean Payton's going to do with this guy. And Bo Nix is a great decision maker. And he's exactly what Sean Payton wants. A guy that has it upstairs, can manipulate the whole field, and it doesn't take sacks. He's not going to turn the ball over. So, I mean, Russell Wilson was a pretty decent quarterback for the Broncos last year, and he doesn't do anything that Sean Payton likes. So imagine, what Bo Nix is going to be able to do, with a guy like Sean Payton. And everyone is telling me that he is the second coming of Joe Brees. So why not, Steve?
Oh boy, you gotta stop listening to all your Denver DMVR podcasts about how this guy.
I would say they're not even talking that highly of him. I mean, it's just, they're not beefing him up any. This is just, listening to a lot of other people, and even, Joe Klatt has even said that he called it before the draft, saying Bo Nix is the perfect guy for Sean Payton.
All right, well, time's gonna tell. Let's go to the next here before I get sick to my stomach. Let's go with number 3. Well, actually, I'm so jumbled with what you were saying. I was gonna go. You go first, Joe. Who do you got for tier number 3?
Tier 3 at 13, I've got Kyler Murray. At 12, I've got Dak Prescott. 11, Caleb Williams, and number 10, Anthony Richardson.
Oh my, oh boy! All right, at third.
What did I say?
You had Anthony Richardson way higher last time. What could have possibly happened that you would drop him? We'll get to it.
Yeah.
At number 13, I've got Kyler Murray. Number 12, Trevor Lawrence. 11, Caleb Williams. 10, Dak Prescott, and 9, Jordan Love. You've got some explaining to do, Joseph. You had Anthony Richardson in tier 2 as your 8 quarterback, and now you got him in tier 3. What had you drop him from a tier 2 to a tier 3 since we did our last episode on Dynasty quarterbacks?
Well, I mean, first off, you're talking about a matter of dropping him 2 spots. You're acting like I did it something absolutely criminal here. But
I just don't understand what he could have possibly done to make himself worse.
I don't know if it's anything he's done. I think I just had me doing a little bit of reflection here.
Wow.
And choosing to put him 10th. You keep saying Brock Purdy's only done it 1 year. Well, everyone was so enamored with Anthony Richardson, yet he barely played this season. He injures, and I'm a little concerned with his possible risk for injury and just the style in which he plays, being that he's a heavy running guy. And I was looking at his passing numbers, and let me tell you, just not very good. Like this guy was just relying on his legs, and I don't like that. Eventually, you got to have it upstairs. So 50% completion percentage from the quarterback's position just doesn't move the needle for me.
You are off your rocker. I can't believe that you would want Brock Purdy over Anthony Richardson. That
Oh,
blows my mind.
well, come on. Give me a guy that actually passes the ball.
Oh my word. You're so wrong. You're going to be so wrong about this. I look forward to talking about it
No,
in the
I
future.
look forward to it, Steve, because all you did last season was say, Joe, man, you were right about this, right about that.
Yeah, touche. So, I mean, you and I both had Caleb here 11. I think that Caleb goes into one of the maybe the best rookie situation we've seen in a long time, maybe ever. So I think you got to be happy about the Caleb landing spot with the Bears. With Roma Dunze, too, I think from a dynasty standpoint, people want to just look at the Keenan Allen and the DJ Moore component. But Keenan Allen will probably be gone next year. But then you got Roma Dunze for possibly the rest of his career with Chicago. They both stick around.
Yeah, definitely. And I think there's definitely room for him to increase, but I just felt this was a comfortable spot to put him, being that we haven't seen him play in the NFL yet. But like you said, just that landing spot that he's got with the Bears and all the talent that's around him, it's a great situation for a rookie quarterback to go into.
All right, Joe. So what do you got for tier number 2?
All right, in tier 2, Steve, at number 9, I've got Brock Purdy, the man. Number 8, I've got Jordan Love. 7, Justin Herbert. 6, Joe Burrow. 5, Lamar Jackson. 4, Jalen Hurts. And at number 3, CJ Stroud.
Wow, man, you've got like an accordion over there of players in this tier. At number 8, I've got Justin Herbert. 7, Joe Burrow. 6, Lamar Jackson. 5, CJ Stroud. 4, Anthony Richardson. And 3, Jalen Hurts. Now, I do find it interesting, Joe. Based on the last video, I think you had CJ Stroud in tier 1. Now you have him in tier 2, although his situation got better. So, what made you?
I think it was I believe it was Hurts I had at number 3 in tier 1. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, so I brought him down, CJ Stroud above him. That's just simply my concern with Jalen Hurts is I'm a little concerned. He was a product of Shane Steichen, second year, having a new offensive coordinator, just the instability and stuff there. And I'm a little concerned, especially with the way everything fell at the end of the year for him.
I don't disagree with you, and I actually thought about moving him behind that. It just his offense is just too good. I think that to me is the problem. I know
And
maybe
also, I mean, curious to see what the impact of losing Jason Kelsey is.
that could be huge.
At
That
center,
definitely
yeah.
could be huge. It's interesting because I think as a part of this conversation, you and I have kind of seen a little bit of a difference of opinion. Is that I care way more about the talent around the player, where you don't care as much. In your view, if the quarterback is good, the quarterback's good. Which there are people who say, hey, if the quarterback is really good, they'll bring up the guys around him. I'm a little bit more of the mindset from a fantasy standpoint. Hey, if you don't have the skill set of the players around you to really be good, I think your ceiling is not as high. So to me, because Hurts has got Saquon, he's got Devonta Smith, he's got AJ Brown, he's got Dallas Goedert. It's just it's hard unless the Eagles just absolutely collapse. Which honestly, Kellen Moore, who's the offensive coordinator, I think he was overrated. I thought he was going to do wonders in Los Angeles, and he really didn't. So
Yeah.
I'd be very curious to see what the rapport is between Nick Sirianni and Kellen Moore, to be honest.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Like you said, I mean, everyone was saying, oh, what a great job he was doing in Dallas, and then once he went to the Chargers, we bought the hype too. We were victims of it, what he was going to do with Justin Herbert and
Oh
that,
yeah.
LA offense, and just didn't happen. So really interested to see what happens in Philly. And you even saw like Dak doing better and having better numbers with McCarthy after he left. So I don't know. That's another thing. Like I have my doubts on Kellen Moore and this offense coordinator change for this Eagles offense.
which is wild to me because I thought the exact opposite. I thought, oh, great, Mike McCarthy's going to take over the offense.
Right.
That team is going to just dive bomb, and they didn't. Dak had his best year. It is just, I got that one wrong real bad. I mean, you and I both got bit by that one.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I didn't expect the year that, Dak had with CD Lamb and everything. But I also knew that them trying to tell the media that, Mike McCarthy is going to run the ball more. He's never ran the ball more in his life. In Green Bay, it was always heavier and Rodgers passing it.
We were talking about the Chargers a little bit. I had Herbert 8. You have Herbert 7. Did you think about putting him down a tier? I almost considered it because I just don't know what that offense is going to look like with Jim Harbaugh. We know Jim Harbaugh loves the ground and pound. So I know you've said even in this offseason that you thought he was a buy low candidate. You thought that he could be better, with Harbaugh as the coach. I just wonder if he's going to have that same production because his rookie year and his second year, he was throwing it all over the yard.
Yeah, I almost was wondering if I should put Herbert higher, to be honest with you.
Wow, interesting.
Just because, I think, sure, maybe his yardage goes down and obviously some of his attempts go down, but I just wonder if overall production doesn't take that much of a hit because I think this is going to just be a more effective offense. And I think there's potential for Herbert to just be that much more effective. He's going to expecting to have great protection at the line of scrimmage. They're going to run the ball. So for once, play action is going to be a thing for the Chargers. And does that allow these, receivers to have more open opportunities, and maybe Herbert doesn't have to zip things in as tight of windows? And does he actually get some easy reads because of it and out of the play action? So I'm curious if maybe his overall numbers take a dip in terms of attempts and yardage, but wonder if that, if his efficiency in the red zone goes up, maybe he has more touchdowns, but you just see a more efficient player if that's actually better for fantasy.
One guy I was lower on, and I wanted to put him lower, but I kept him where in the range that was respectable, was Joe Burrow.
Yeah, I had a feeling you were saying that.
Really? Well, I just think, again, this is a guy, he look at his production. He did it for about
slot as well.
He did it for about 2 years. So he was really good. There's those reports out there, and I'm not trying to put vindication out there or anything, but he is recovering from this injury with his hand, wrist area. So they'll be interested to see how he comes back. I'm sure he'll be fine. But you've got T. Higgins. That's that melodrama right now. What's going on over there? Maybe Jermaine Burton steps up. You lost Tyler Boyd. You just have Jamar Chase. I don't know. I'm also concerned about the Callahan leaving. I'm starting to wonder if Brian Callahan was the mastermind by this offense and Zach Taylor was just the guy out front. So I think the Bengals, I know that division's really tough. I mean, you've got Baltimore as a tough out, Cleveland's a tough out. I think Pittsburgh's made a tough, a lot of strides. I think the Bengals could be in for I think the team could struggle, to be honest with you. And so Burrow is a guy that I really have a hard time with because obviously he's seen as this elite quarterback. I just don't know what to do with him.
Yeah, I think the other tough thing for Burrow is I always felt like, is he a better NFL quarterback than what he really is for fantasy? But then there was also the times where, when everything was going right for them, he was hitting those bombs to Chase, and he was, one of the top fantasy quarterbacks. But, now these injury concerns are creeping up. We'll see how. I'm a little worried about it, how much mobility and flexibility he's going to have in his wrist. How is that impacted when he's taking falls, when he's falling to the ground after getting hit? So I'm just curious about the durability things with that wrist surgery. I don't know how it's all going to work out for him.
I agree. I have my hesitation with him too. I don't. He's not a guy I'm targeting.
Yeah, he was a guy I was debating, do I move Herbert up versus and bring Burrow down potentially? Just, I don't know. I mean, that is a move I could, still make, but that's kind of what I was debating.
All right, Joe. So let's round it out. We're at tier 1. You got 2 guys. I got 2 guys. Let's see if you and I are the same.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we got the same 2 guys. Not sure if we're going to have them in the same order, but at number 2, I've got Mahomes, and number 1, I've got your guy, Josh Allen, Steve.
Interesting. At number 2, I've got Josh Allen. At number 1, I got Patrick Mahomes. So I've got it switched up a little bit as the Bills fan here. That might come to a surprise. I think for me,
Surprises me.
well, I had Allen 1 before.
Right. And so
And
what has he done to deserve getting moved down a spot here?
okay, I'm gonna give you a test. You and I explained to you what the difference is between you and I. So why would why would you think I would have put him down from 1 to 2?
Well, right. You're more concerned about the personnel. No more Stephon Diggs. No more Gabe Davis.
There you go. Bingo. That's why. Here's the thing. We talked about it before. He's been the number 1 quarterback in fantasy for these past few years. Could he do it again? Absolutely. This would be his toughest test. No question about it. He's had continuity over these past 3 years. We've seen what Stephon Diggs was able to do to elevate his game. There are some who think if you look at the tape that Stephon Diggs lost a step. I think it's totally possible. I think he could be the 3rd best option in Houston. I don't think that's crazy. So it could be one of those things that the Bills turn the page at the right time. But, you've got Curtis Samuel in there, guy he's never worked with before. Keon Coleman, the rookie's in there, guy he's never worked with before. He's got guys like Marquez Valdez-Scantling, which I don't even know what the Bills were thinking, but that's another podcast for another day. So it's like he's got a whole different cast of characters. I just think for me, I feel like I have to see it from Josh Allen that this is a new scenery. How does he do? And if he performs at the top level again, hey, prove me wrong. He then deserves to be 1. But when I think about Mahomes, the guy is just year after year after year is the top of his game, is extremely consistent, although I hate to say it, but it's also been different offenses. We had the Tyreek Hill offense with Kelsey. Now he left. Then you had this, past season with Travis
Oh,
Kelce.
good. You're about to prove my point. Keep going.
Interesting. I think every offense he's had a different variation of the offense, and he's still been able to do really well. So in my view, he's kind of personnel proof. So to me, I feel like he's the number 1 guy.
Right. And why is he personnel proof, Steve? Because the Andy Reid system. Thank you. That's what I've been saying, man. Personnel
Listen,
doesn't
it's the
matter.
chicken or the egg at this point. You think it's the chicken, I think it's the egg, or vice versa. I don't know which is
think
which.
it's funny. You've operated at the opposite up until these top 2 guys, and now you're saying Mahomes is personnel proof, and I'm saying I don't care about the personnel with these other quarterbacks because they have the offensive, masterminds and coordinators that are just going to make that system work, and it's just you can plug these players in. Andy Reid and the Kyle Shanahans of the world, the personnel, I just don't think it matters. They're just
I
going to
don't know
find
if I
the
agree
guys.
with that though, because you could argue that his personnel is better. Patrick Mahomes is better.
Better personnel than Josh Allen's?
Absolutely. He's got
Well,
Hollywood. He's got Hollywood Brown. They drafted Xavier Worthy. If Rashi Rice plays, he's got Rashi Rice, and he's got Travis Kelce with Isaiah Pacheco with probably a similar offensive line. Like to me, that's better than Buffalo. Buffalo is improving right now. You've got to. I mean, I think they'll be good, but Kincaid's probably their number 1 option. He's only playing the NFL 1 year. I think it's too unproven to say that the Bills' supporting cast is better.
I don't care about the Bills supporting cast. You know why, Steve? Because the Bills just aren't going to pass that much. It's going to be the running show, and that's what Josh Allen does best. He's the number 1 quarterback in fantasy because he gets so many rushing touchdowns, and to me, that's not going to change. They're still going to rely on this guy in the run game. It's probably still around the goal line as well because they don't trust James Cook because McDermott likes the big guys in those situations. Yeah, maybe they bring in
Yeah,
Ray
but hold
Davis,
the phone. They brought in Ray Davis, and on top of it, though, is you're talking about Sean McDermott's the coach. You always say that. Well, he doesn't have the right coach to work with Allen. So why wouldn't you
I'm
have
talking
Mahomes
from the
first?
Joe
Because you've
Brady
got Reed.
situation. This has nothing to do with Sean McDermott.
I get that, but you say that you don't care about the personnel. In my view, then why wouldn't you have Mahomes number 1? Because he's got Andy Reid with him. You had Brock
Because,
Purdy up at 9 because has Kyle Shanahan as a coach.
well, and Brock Purdy's play, he deserves to be number 9. Absolutely. But the difference with Josh Allen, the differentiator is his rushing touchdowns. That's what makes it for him. And what I'm looking at is Joe Brady likes to run the ball. That's exactly what the Bills did the last, half of the games that they played with Joe Brady taking over. And Josh Allen was a big part of that, with his rushing attempts and the rushing touchdowns. And at the end of the day, they would prefer him to do that than to play hero ball and throwing, 3 interceptions a game.
So that does it for our updated top 24 Dynasty quarterback rankings with tiers, with rookies. So hopefully you enjoyed this episode where Joe and I went back and forth. Felt like we were in a boxing match today, Joe. We don't usually disagree this much, but it was good. But coming up...
Always nice to disagree with you, Steve. And for the record, I don't think you had many rookies.
I had 2. How many do you have? 4? 5. 5. You had 5. Yeah, 5 to my 2. Yeah. In some upcoming episodes, we plan to go through the rest of the positions. So look out for that. We're doing top 24 Dynasty running back, wide receiver, tight end, IDP as well. So defensive end, D-tackle, linebacker, corner, and safety. We're going to give you those rankings with tiers coming up. You're not going to want to miss that. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time.